Hey friends, family, everyone. Welcome back to Authenticity the Hard Way. I am your host, Asha Zalika, and as always, I am so grateful that you stopped by to spend time with me, to listen, to perhaps learn, gain strength, encouragement along your life journey. And that's what Authenticity the Hard Way is all about. If you are new to the channel, Authenticity the Hard Way is YouTube and podcast. And on both, I share my life experiences. The harsh ones, the painful ones, because it is those experiences that transform us, that have transformed me. And the only thing that I can authentically speak on is what I know, what I have experienced. There is a total different form of energy that comes about when sharing, right? There's a difference between someone speaking on, teaching on, elaborating on something that they have learned from textbook, right? And then there is a total different form of expression and transference when someone is teaching or sharing about something that they have experienced. And what's coming to my mind is when I studied, took the course to get my CNA certification. So you have the theory part and then you have the practical. And the theory part is when you learn everything, right? You study, you learn the techniques and everything. And then the practical is when you apply that. And so for our final, we had to do the written for the theory. And then we had to have someone come and we had to practice that which we had learned on this person. Two totally different forms of experience. I can only speak and share from a place of authenticity, a place of confidence, boldness, assurance from within my own experience. And then I can also incorporate what I have learned through all of my studies, metaphysical sciences, psychology, and incorporate that into my experience, which gives it an added layer of authenticity, I guess you could say. But it is the raw emotion of the experience and having gone through it and now being on the other end of it and sharing it is what makes it so impactful. And that's why I'm here, to share from that space. And that's what authenticity is all about. Authenticity the Hard Way is all about. And it's not scripted. I don't script. I have an idea about the things that I share. I mean, I get the idea. Spirit generally always moves me into the experience, or reminds me of the experience to share, and I move with that. However, and I want to put this out here, I am expanding. My everything that's going on with the year of the fire horse and all this energy that is moving through earth and moving through the collective. It's all about forward movement and expansion. So literally I am feeling my mind open up. I am feeling my heart space open up, to begin including other things. So I am doing my studying. Like I am studying. I was led to, or it was pushed into my field of awareness. This kind of mini book, or whatever you want to call it, an ebook about the year of the fire horse and what that means. So before I jump in here and begin speaking on that, I am going to read that book and I am going to glean from it, and then I will share, because like I said, having the knowledge of something is vitally important, as experiencing that thing. So Authenticity the Hard Way YouTube and podcast content is evolving, even as I breathe. And this lets me know that my alignment with my calling is so perfectly synced. But I don't want to ever get into the place where I am following a script on what to speak about, because that takes away the authentic element of this experience. To have notes, which I will have, like my other video, I have my journal and everything. To take notes is good, because I will refer to the notes, but I can't note the experience. This is all raw. This is just you and me. We're sitting here. I hope you have your tea, your coffee, your water, whatever. I got my tissue right there because it's raw and unedited. This is because my experiences have been raw and unedited. Like I didn't go through that experience and then was able to press pause and rewind it. And that won't happen in real life. That is not it. So, yeah. I was not, and it's so funny because I do have a list of things that during my last video when I was talking about Saturn in Aries, I was taking notes. And because I was fully into it, I was receiving and taking notes for the next video that I had planned I was going to do. The way Spirit moves in my life, it's just totally rearranged everything. Because this is not what I'm going to talk about. I have been moved to speak on something different. So, being able to flow with Spirit, to be led by Spirit, to have full, complete confidence that God, the universe, whatever terminology, whatever word you choose to use. Mind you, Authenticity the Hard Way is not about, we're not about religion. We're not about religion. We're not about any doctrine. Look, this is just real. Whatever you choose, whatever words you choose, be it God, the universe, Spirit, universal consciousness, oversoul, whatever word, and words bother me as a writer because I understand how people can get caught up in words. That's a lot of fights and arguments happen because the misuse or the misinterpretation of words. That's a total different topic. So whatever word, term you use for all that I just said, fine, so be it. I judge not. And you will hear me intermingle words use different words for the same thing because I'm just trying to share. So don't get caught up in the words, please. But being able to be led by spirit and my intuition, spirit, intuition. See, there you go. Anyway, with full, complete trust in the universe, trust in God to lead and guide me in this journey of life is what has gotten me here. It's how I made it through everything. It's how you can make it through everything. So I may have an agenda. I have a to-do list, but I have learned, painstakingly learned, to flow within that agenda. This is an ongoing, on-the-job learning experience to be able to what's the word I want? Allow my humanness, my agenda, and my calling, how to flow, being led by spirit, being guided by God, the universe, instead of grinding the gears in my life, trying to force my human mind, trying to force productivity or trying to force something. It doesn't work like that. And this is a season where I am really, really leaning more into that, because that's where the authentic living takes place, is in that flow. In so many of my experiences, as I look back, they were so harsh mentally for me because I was trying to think, figure, strategize my way through based on what I can see in this animated world that I call life, in this animation that I am a part of. I tried to mentally fix, adjust, push myself through because I had a destination. My destination was to get here, right? Go home, get settled. This version of myself and this version of my animation, learning, I was trying to force and strategize and be human, fully out there, so to speak, to get here. Like, what move do I have to make? Who do I have to call? What do I have to do? What program am I going to get in? Da. When in actuality, my strength, my focus, my direction was coming from within and coming from the universe. So there was a major misalignment. There's another word I'm trying to get. Push and pull, kind of tug of war. There we go. Kind of tug of war between me and spirit, between the human me and the spiritual soul me, until I learned that it does not have to be a tug of war, and it does not have to be a grinding of the gears. it can flow so long as I'm willing to trust, believe, and follow my higher power, the universe, God, the unseen. That is the sum total cause, the sum total outcome of all the years of struggle, all the years of harsh experiences to get to this point right now where I can share and say it doesn't have to be a tug of war. If we simply get out of our matrix encased thinking mind, our programmed, the imprisonment, I'm hearing this, the imprisonment of the program that we have were born into and indoctrinated into through the system, through the school system, through the workforce. If we can just unplug from all of that and align with what is true, which is our connection with Source, then the struggle will not be a struggle. I don't know how I got there on that. Flowing with the topics that I'm sharing. This is totally spirit-led, y'all. So I had to take a couple of days off. I didn't do any posting or anything for a couple days because I felt myself moving into agenda, moving into my list of topics to talk about, because I was getting caught up in the grind of production, right? And that's not good. I don't want that. So I pulled back. This is spiritual maturity. This is evolving. This is a form of evolution for me because of my years and years of discipline as a bodybuilder. Every part of my life was disciplined. Every part of me had a specific what's the word I want? Routine. There it is. Outside of routine, everything gets all kind of, I get out of balance. I get off balance because I'm an Aries, and Aries, we're very strategic. We are very on point. I see the vision. Okay, this is an Aries. I see it. Get it. Yeah. The bulldog mentality, which is good if you are in competition. It's good. That is good if you are in competition. But it does not transfer well when you are trying to flow. It has its place. So I had to back up and I had to let go and cut the weed at the root, find the root, pull it out before a whole field of weeds grew within me, because I'm squashing the authenticity and forcing the productivity. Hold on. Wait a minute. That's good. Squashing the authenticity to force productivity. That is so good. That is something that needs to be explored for me, because that is a con. You have pros and cons. That's a con for me. See, expression. See how this works? Like, I'm speaking with you, but I'm also teaching me and learning from me. This is a beautiful dynamic we have. But anyway, I pushed aside I just let everything go. And it's good to do that, because our nervous system, our minds, we need a break from constant doing. And it is okay. It is absolutely okay to take breaks when you need to break. Push everything aside and just be a human being instead of always a human doing. And in that, when I woke up this morning, I realized that Spirit was leading me into sharing an experience. It had nothing to do with my agenda, but something that I am right now experiencing. Right now. And that's what we're going to talk about. And I think the main question that has been presented to me within this experience is, what am I willing to sacrifice to be in a relationship? So, to set a premise, I have down through the years been in various relationships, and each relationship is for a reason and a specific season, and this is what I have learned down through the years. And I'm talking about intimate relationships, but every relationship is a teaching and learning experience. And so there have been times where 3 years, so not in any relationship. But then I would go through these short-lived relationships, like 6 weeks, few months, and it would have to end abruptly, or just it ended when it was supposed to. But I have purposefully and conscientiously gone back many, many times and tracked these relationships and kind of tore them apart and to see the dynamic of each relationship. And it has become very evident and clear to me that I am supposed to be single. Now, the foundation of this was laid many, many years ago when I was actually married. This thought, this, whatever you want to call it, started sprouting. Well, if I say sprouting, then the seed was planted years ago when I was married. And I started to notice the changes that I was going through and the dynamic that I was living in. So understand, let's just sit right there for a minute. To have that thought be brought to me as I was a young Christian, learning spirit, learning the spiritual realm as a married woman, to have that idea be planted deep within my soul, my heart, was a bit traumatic, because my desire as a young girl and as a young woman was to be a wife, to be a mother. I wanted to be, back in the day, at home, ironing, sewing, cooking, helping my children with their homework, making dinner for my husband and children, just having that beautiful family dynamic. That was my desire. And I had it for a moment, and everything fell apart. And it was at that time where that seed was planted. It was gentle. It was subtle. It was like a tiny ripple going through my mind and my heart. But because things were so traumatic, chaotic during those years, I never addressed it. I just, once my husband abandoned me and our children, I was trying on this mission to try and find a man to fill that space, that gaping wound that the abandonment had left in me. So I was in and out of relationships, trying to find the filler. And yet, and still, in the back of my mind, that thought, that seed was growing. And then as I became more aligned, as I evolved, as I continued to grow, as I continued to experience life in and out of relationships, I started noticing a common pattern. Like, those relationships sucked because I was attracting through my trauma. I was attracting through the abandonment. I was attracting the broken me in a male form, if that makes sense. Because like, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So I was sending out vibrations of neediness, of validation. I just wanted validation. I was sending out all types of desperation, clinginess, all these, and that's what I got. I was sending out trauma. I received traumatic relationships. However, in each one, I learned. Each one evolved me. Each one shaped me, shook me, and shaped me. And then I started seeing that, and then once I hit a certain place in my journey where I understood what I was doing, what I was here for, when I actually stopped looking out in the world for my happiness and for validation, I began looking within myself. And I began the journey towards authenticity, to become who I truly am to be. And I had a vision. The vision was very, it wasn't as vibrant, and it's like a sketch. Yeah, I just saw artists sketching, right? I saw the sketch of the woman that I wanted to be. And as the years went on, and I dove deeper into understanding spiritual things, I dove, not say religious stuff, I dove deeper into the metaphysical realm. And I learned, even in that, I learned of different cultures and different religions and different truths about our true selves. The sketch began to take form, and I began to literally see the woman that I was becoming. And that's when that seed of celibacy, that seed of solitude and being single, began to sprout. And began to interweave itself into this artwork of becoming me. And then the type of relationships that I began experiencing started changing. And I started attracting men who exposed the contrast within me. I got into a relationship, and there's also a podcast. I did a podcast on the karmic relationship. I'll link. Note. It's a karmic relationship. I will link those so you can go back so that you can get a better understanding of, because I'm not going to go into detail, but it was a karmic relationship. It's called Understanding Karmic Relationships and the Law of Attraction. So I will link that. Please listen. It's 2 parts. I attracted a man that was the dark side of me. That lasted for maybe 6 months. And right on the end, like literally the last few days of that relationship, that was very traumatic. I attracted, or I manifested, a man that showed me the light side of me. It was this yin and yang right in my face. There was a man that it was horrible. The darkness. And then a man that showed me the light. And the funny thing is, and I don't care about color, but I get on my own nerves sometimes, but I have to say what I see. I just have to be, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but this contrast is so amazing because this is live and living life, living color, living life. The man that showed me the dark side of me was a black man, and the man that showed me my authentic true self was a white man. That is a totally different video. I can't make this up, y'all. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. But it's a black man and a white man. Both relationships showed me both parts of me. This dark part of me, that relationship lasted for about 6 months. This white light side of me, 6 weeks. Right on the tail end of each other. Like a chapter, like turning the page in a book into a new chapter. And this 6 weeks was the most transformative experience of my personal growth, my relationship with myself, and understanding what it means to be a true authentic woman and the way that a true authentic woman should be treated. And that relationship is the relationship where that seed sprouted into a great big tree, stabilizing me, into stabilizing me within the fact or the, I don't know what the fact, into the truth maybe, that I'm supposed to be single. That it really sprouted in me. It really grew and began to take root within me. And this was just 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2.5 years ago. And I began to focus on it. And in these 2 years, I've been in 2 relationships since then. Yeah, short. But it opened up my mind into seeing how, and mind you, now please understand that I sit and I really talk with my Arisha, with the angels, my archangels, with spirit, with different, I believe they're my ancestors that speak with me. I sit in depth, I take time, literally, to get the guidance and the understanding and then the emotional support of this. Understand, the emotion, emotional toil and chaos that this has caused, that has brought up within me, it has been intense. It has been intense because I was that little girl whose desire was to grow up and marry and have a beautiful fairy tale family. That was a core belief, a very strong paradigm that I grew into, that became the fabric of my soul. And so now, during this major transformation, that had to be dismantled. It's hard and very painful. So 2.5 years ago, I really began to explore and ask repeatedly to be taught. I had so many questions and just literally at some point begging Spirit, prove it. Prove it. Because I want to be in a relationship. I want to have a counterpart. I want that. I need, just help me. And you know how they say, be careful what you ask for, right? So that leads me to this relationship. But I had pretty much, during this time, Spirit, God, the universe, creating the experiences leading me into different types of experiences to prove to me that the trajectory of, I am tearful, right? The trajectory of my life, the path that I have chosen to follow is one of consecration of my total life, my total being, to being the light worker, to being the light bearer, to being the voice of truth and authenticity, the a vessel of compassion and true love towards mankind, being the beacon light where travelers traveling the dark seas can find the light and make it to shore. That's the vision that God gave me years and years ago. That to be that light, guiding people ashore to truth, to safety, to the understanding of who we as human beings truly are, and our rights, our birthrights, are the heritage of living and experiencing a beautiful life, coming out of the matrix, coming out of the mental and spiritual bondage that we have been born into. And at this time, what a powerful time, because all of that is crumbling. It really is right in front of us. So that I have been called into, and I have chosen to be the vessel for this. And that requires a certain amount of consecration, of being set apart, and whether you want to talk about, use the church as a reference, there are certain items that are used in church for certain ceremonies, for certain, like, there's just certain things that are set apart for certain parts of the church service, a certain part of church ceremonies, or whether you have your own spiritual rituals, and there's certain things that you use that cannot be tampered with. I have my crystals, and don't touch them. It's for a specific reason. I light my incense for specific reasons. And so I have chosen this way of life for a specific purpose. And everything that I just named. And in doing so, that does not leave room for anyone else. I cannot share me with a man, with anyone else, in an intimate setting with a man. I can't. I am sacred. I have been set apart. mixing, and as an empath, to properly be able to hone in on my gifts as an empath and be able to sense the needs of others in the capacity of the caregiver, spiritual caregiver that I am, I have to be clear. And when you are in a relationship, an intimate relationship with someone else, you have to be present in that relationship. It takes a whole, just being in a relationship, an intimate relationship is not just, transference takes place, especially if it's a sexual relationship, transference takes place. And I just can't. It's very deep. It's very deep. So, a few weeks ago, I was in a low place. Well, I can't really say it was a low place. I was dealing with, this is when, like, the sun was just shooting out coronal mass ejections, and there's so much energy and chaotic stuff in the atmosphere. Like this January, like the end of December going into January was just energetically chaotic. And me coming off the tail end of going through months of chaos and disruption after disruption in my own home. It was a lot that I was going through. And there was a moment where I broke and I was like, I can't. Well, I can't. I just can't. And I just started hanging out, right? And one night I was out, and total transparency, I had been drinking. And I was hanging out and ended up at the liquor store with my daughter. And I met a man. And we started talking. We started this relationship. I started a relationship with a man from my shadow self, a version of my shadow self. I started a relationship with a man in the frame of mind and the emotional state of who I had been before. That's how easy it is when you become overwhelmed, or when I become overwhelmed and I slide back. That's what the church, or Christian church, refers to as backsliding. I slid back and created a relationship from that place. Because had I not been so overwhelmed, I wouldn't have been drinking. I mean, it is not the alcohol, but it was the mind state that I was in. Like I totally was burnt out, and created a relationship in that space, from that place. And it was not a relationship for me in either state. It was not. It became quickly apparent that he and I are absolutely, completely opposite worlds. Complete opposite. Not a bad man. A beautiful, caring, gentle, respectful man, but not a match for me. Which highlighted something within me to where I had to sit and I had to look at myself and say, Asha, what are you willing to sacrifice to be in a relationship? A relationship that will not be fulfilling, does not align with who you are, does not align with where you're going, does not even align with the lifestyle that you live. All of this in my face, and I had to ask myself, because I wanted to try. I really wanted to give this a chance. I really genuinely like this gentleman. And I wanted to give it a chance. And I did. And still, those facets, those keys were glaring in my face. And so I had to continually ask myself that question. And then, then the skies opened up and the sun shone down and the angels and everything began to blare. You are not supposed to be in a relationship. I cannot be in a relationship for so many reasons. Even if it was someone who is who is aligned with me, and we have the same hobbies, we have the same thought processes, we have the same, me, I change rapidly. I evolve rapidly. My thought processes continually evolve. I am continually seeking and searching for information, for truth, for guidance. I am not a good mate because I am so tunneled into this. Distractions irritate me. I cannot share myself. I can't. This is just me outside. Even if I didn't have the calling, this is me. Long before I actually truly committed fully all into this, I changed too much. I am fully Aries. I move quickly. I'm about it. This is just me. This is the core of who I am. And it's safer. It's safer for me to be single. It's safer for everybody else for me to be single because inadvertently you will get hurt by this fire that I am. You'll get burned unless you can just match it. There's no leeway in between that. So I had to ask myself, what am I willing to sacrifice? And I woke up this morning and I sat up with that question in my mind. And my answer is nothing. I'm not willing to sacrifice anything. I am not going to enter it. I'm not going to be in a relationship just to have someone. There are thousands of people who stay in relationships long after the love is gone, long after the commitment is gone, long after the alignment is gone, and they are miserable. They begin cheating, abuse begins. Nothing. Because I know who I am. I know how I am. And it is my responsibility to protect other people from getting hurt by me, by how I am. It's a level of responsibility, y'all. There is a level of responsibility that comes with being who you are. And if you know these types of things about yourself, you have an obligation to protect someone else from you. That is not a bad thing. I think that might be the utmost form of love and respect for mankind, is to protect other people from yourself. It hurts. But for the greater good. I'm seeing Charmed. Y'all remember the old episodes of Charmed with Phoebe, Prue, and Piper, right? And all the battles that they fought, and that's being highlighted right here in my mind, right here. I see different episodes of it. For the greater good, I know that I am supposed to be single so that I can focus on what I've been called to do, and so that I don't hurt anyone else by who I am. I had to share that. Like I said, I woke up into that question, and Spirit just moved on me to speak on this, because if they taught this kind of stuff, if they had interpersonal relationship management courses in it as we grow up in school, there'd be a lot less abuse, a lot less depression. It's just my belief. Because when you know who you are and you're settled in who you are, you will not then enter into relationships just to prove who you are. You understand what I'm saying? The only way that I can sit here and share with this is because I know who I am. And that came through 50 years of pain, sorrow, anguish. So please, if you are single, do not rush, do not push, do not force trying to be in a relationship. Sit with yourself and find out if it's really meant for you to be in a relationship. And if you are in a relationship and you are questioning whether you should be, take time. If you are in a marriage and it has collapsed and you are going through the motions, you need to check yourself. Because everything that we do as individuals ripples out into the collective. And misaligned relationships only hurt and destroy. Then we have generations of families being destroyed later on down the line because they weren't aligned to begin with. Ooh-wee. And like I said, this is fresh. Like this is, I had to end it last night. I had to speak the truth. I had to. So it's fresh and it hurts, you know. But I've grown so much in just this. And there's only a few weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you stayed to the end and you made it to here, I want you to know how grateful I am that you listened. Then I hope that you received something. I know it's long and I refuse to compromise the message for time. If you made it to the end and you're listening to me now, you are the reason why I have consecrated myself. The reason why I have accepted myself as sacred so that I can fully and completely be here and available, unfiltered, to help you, to support you, to encourage you, to be a form of light, some type of light in your darkness. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. And if this resonated with you, please, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe for more stuff like this. And for everything else that Spirit has to pour into this. Leave a comment. Let me know how this helped you. Let me know what you're experiencing. Let me know if you think this type of stuff just sucks. Let me know. Give me some feedback. I appreciate it. And if it resonated with you, please share. Please share. And as always, from the bottom of my heart, I love you and I appreciate you. And I'm here for you and because of you. Take care of yourself. And please